Good morning. Welcome back to episode 24. Thanks for tuning back in, first of all, to the third series of Build It or Buy It. We are going down to the shop later today to continue working on the twin fin hand-shaped fish, copying this fish. Basically a hand-shaped fish that I worked on a couple months back. Been riding it a lot, super fun board. But rather than riding the fish today, I think we're gonna bring out the A6. It's a new model by T.Patterson. 6-channel thruster without glass ends. Future boxes. Racetrack traction on this bad boy. Keep my foot glued on. The waves look super fun down here at Creek, and we're gonna go for a surf and then head down to the shop. So see you down there. Love Salt Creek. My favorite place to come. Alright, so we went for a surf down here at Salt Creek. Saw a bunch of friends. Who do we see? We saw Grant Ritchie, we saw Noah Albrecht, we saw Tommy Lloyd, Jeff, Tim Wyman, saw Tyler Warren, a bunch of friends. Sun finally came out. Now that we're going to work, it's going to get nice and hot in the shop, but let's go down to the shop and laminate that little fish. So over here, we got our wall of blanks. Long boards, bigger boards over on this side, shorter boards on this side. We got our Eric Rumner board, which I am not going to do anything with because Eric does them all by himself. But we got our fish hanging out waiting here for us to route. Take your fin measuring tool, see how far up from the tail, 8 3/4 of an inch. So now that we got our expert fin marks on there, mark the mark, we are going to route it, and we want to make sure that our router doesn't go too deep. So you put these little foam things in there, and they just lift up your jig a little bit off the blank so that it doesn't go through the board or route them too deep. So then you have a bunch of resin in your board that you don't want. So this is your router. That's the bit. This is the side of the box. This is the center. In boxes that are not in a surfboard, look like that, right? You want the foam to be touching the whole thing. ideally. You want a little bit of resin around it, but not too much resin, because then it makes your board heavy. Don't forget, you gotta sign your board. A little light fling. Summer fling, baby. So we got our fins routed. We got the tools that we need right here. Big brush for putting the resin in the beginning, little brush for cleaning it up later, and the squeegee to take all of it off to make it completely perfectly flat. So you come in here, grab a little bit of resin. You don't need very much at all, especially if you're doing only one board. So we need a little catalyst. This step right here. You do not want this on your skin. It burns like hell. I'm gonna put like 8 cc's. Because we're only doing one board. It's not going to take very long. Go over here, you get your big brush. You use this to wad it up in there. You always want super clean hands for this, so I just dip my hands, my gloves in acetone. Clean off all the resin so you don't get it all over your fins or your jigs or anything. Squeeze them in there. You want resin to be coming out around it, like so. Right? And you get this guy. This is 6 degrees. It's supposed to be exact 6 degrees. Squeegee, flipped over, upside down. So you want to, cool. This is done. Then you just paint in the little extra bits. Oh, the pizza! The pizza pie! So there's 2 different types of cloth. There's warp and E. We're gonna do just like different types of weave. We're gonna do the bottom layer with warp, and then we're gonna do a deck patch with the E and then warp over that. Each fin box gets a little patch of cloth over it. So I'm gonna do the fin box with the opposing cloth so that the cloth lays down together nice and flat. So I'm using E. This little guy. On your fin patches that you just cut. You don't want them hanging over the rail. You want them to be all on the flat part of the surfboard. Like I was saying earlier, use my E-cloth for the patches. Pull it. You want it just a little bit over the tail. You go around the whole board. You want it to be on this length. Cut it straight down to the stringer. And you fold it. You want it to wrap nicely. And then I like to do wrap cut so that it folds. This is ready to go. You take your clean bucket and fill it up with 2 fingers of resin. You come over here. You measure out about 7 cc's. Something like that. Pour that in. Okay, let's turn green. Nice and green. Ooh, it's hot. So we just laminated this bad boy. You want to make sure there's no bubbles. There's a little bubble in the fins, but it'll survive. Put fiberglass cloth over the entire thing with resin, saturated it with resin, so that gives it its rigidity. Makes it nice and strong. But yeah, we'll let this kick it for a while, dry, and then we'll come back in and do the top side. But for now, let's go across the street and check out some already built surfboards. See if this is the finished product right here, laminated top and bottom by the laminator over here at Basham's named Clay. We also hot coat all the boards too. This is one that Clay hot coated. I'm assuming he laminated it too, but this one's for Tyler Warren. Fun stuff. As Timmy likes to say, just playing in the sand. But let's get out of here, it's stinky. I don't like it. Alright, now we're over here at the UsedSurf sanctuary of used surfboards. Here we got the wall of traction. Best traction ever. Oh my, what is this? Racetrack Traction Co. Pretty legit. I would buy it. Best traction in the world. Found right here at UsedSurf. Next time you get a surfboard, you need traction. Racetrack, baby. So, today, I went for a nice surf with the boys this morning. Got a couple waves, did a couple airs, turns, whatever. Had some fun, rolled around, played in the water. Then we came down here, grabbed a yerba, and went across the street and started working on surfboards. We routed the fins and laminated the bottom. And now we're going to come back next week to laminate the deck and start the hot coat process as well. So thanks for tuning back in to the third series of Build It or Buy It. And tune back in 2 weeks for the next episode of SHRALP Stories. Thanks for tuning back in. Like, comment, subscribe. Love ya.
The tides will run, it's how we go. No reason to take it slow. Gotta get up, hit the road, and say what's up to Poncho.